3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, a very good evening. I warmly welcome all of you today on behalf of the Sri Lankan Institute of Marketing for the third live webinar series. SLIM is the apex body for Sri Lankan marketers, which was founded in 1970 and subsequently incorporated by an Act of Parliament in 1980. We are mandated to uplift the marketing profession in Sri Lanka, thus providing marketing studies and conducting many national events and projects. SLIM as national body for marketing has understood the magnitude and the necessity of the digital operations in the current world, especially in this challenging period. Thus, we have partnered with Mr. Malinda Alahakoon to conduct the third live webinar under the theme of the role of social media in a pandemic crisis. Let me introduce today's presenter for the webinar, Mr. Malinda Alahakoon, YouTuber at Tech Track Show. Mr. Alahakoon, over to you.
Thank you, Damsit. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining here with me and thanks for inviting me for this webinar series. So in this time window, I'm going to tell you, so you guys are marketeers. So I'm going to tell you how we should use social media and what kind of different strategies that we can use in this pandemic crisis, during this pandemic crisis, because usually we have faced different crises throughout the history, but this is a very different situation. Now, this is affecting the entire planet. So we have to think of something brand new. Like let's say something is not going in Sri Lanka, but if it's working in India, so we can still use the same strategy. So now that we have a different situation, so now that we have to think of something brand new. So all the strategies used up to this point might be obsolete. So we have to think from the very fresh perspective. So I'm going to tell you a few things from my experience from creating social media content for the last 5-6 years. So how you can use social media to reach your target group, target clientele. So first one, so we have to understand what kind of power social media got. So just think, you are doing some kind of promotion using traditional media. We call traditional media for TV, radio, and newspapers. And we can get a count, like let's say you're advertising on a newspaper. So you can get the count of newspapers sold. And let's say radio and TV, getting a count is kind of difficult. So we have to rely on a research company. They have to go to people who are actually watching the television and get a count. So, but in social media, it's completely different. In social media, everything is laser targeted. So, and we have lots of data about the person who's actually watching us. Let's say you are doing a social media promotion and you want to target only females. We can do that. But in TV, radio, newspapers, we can't do that. We had all of those capabilities for like seriously long time, like for the last 10 years. But I didn't really see lots of people who are using this kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure many of you guys have used some kind of social media boosting in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. But I have seen most of the people, they select the entire country and then they run the campaign. Then it looks cheaper, but end of the day, it's expensive. Like let's say I want to target all the male population in between 18 and 34 who are living in Colombo and do a very specific advertisement for them in social media. I can do that. In traditional media, you can't do that because we don't really have that kind of targeting mechanism. And let's say you want to run different campaign for different countries. If you want to run a different campaign in different regions, districts, and different age groups, like let's say I am working with several universities. I have seen those universities are running two different campaigns, one for students, one for parents, because when it comes to a university, when it comes to a degree program, the decision makers are not just the student, they're parents, they're the one who's paying. So they are running two different campaigns for parents and for kids. So you can do that kind of stuff in social media. So and the other thing, now that we are facing this situation, pandemic situation. So there are lots of budget cuts, and the not just in Sri Lanka, in every country. So budget cut by 20%, 30%, maybe by half, and sometimes you have to find very innovative way to reach more people with less money. So and reach more relevant people, maybe with equal amount of money. And that's why we should use social media. And in social media, you can collect like very sensitive information about people, and that's exactly what Google is doing. Google, they're collecting all the search queries. They're reading all of our emails. By the way, reading email is some people argue that it's a breach of privacy, but Google engineers, they argue it's not really a breach of privacy because another human is not reading our email. A machine, some kind of artificial intelligence program, a neural network is looking at all the emails. So they're basically profiling us. Google actually understand me way better than my partner and my parents. So they can target this advertisement to me. One classic example would be like several years ago, I wanted to buy a camera. So when it comes to cameras, our most popular brands are Sony, Panasonic, and Nikon. So I was searching about Sony, Panasonic, Sony, Nikon, and Canon. Those are the most popular ones. So I was searching about those cameras. I wanted a 4K camera. So then I all of a sudden I got this Olympus, Panasonic, and different kind of suggestions everywhere I go from Google, and lots of advertisements. And then only I figured out that actually Panasonic, they have, back in the days, they had way better 4K cameras than Canon and Nikon. So actually I got one. So Google could do that because Google actually understand me. The traditional media cannot do that. It's flat, like they see entire audience as just single entity. But in social media, you can segment them. You can identify each and every person and target advertisement for them. So that's really effective. I don't really see, not just in Sri Lanka, in the entire planet, people are still not using this huge database we have to target people and do relevant advertisement. And sometimes when we see irrelevant advertisement, we get really angry. Like when you're watching YouTube videos, you're seeing the same advertisement again, and again. That's because of bad targeting. So we can target, like let's say, I want to display this video advertisement, this pre-roll advertisement, just once per person, but only for the people who are between 16 and 28. We can do that. We should use that. Then the message is actually going to the relevant people. Let's say you want to promote a apartment complex. In apartment complex, there's no point of showing that advertisement to 13-year-old. So you should probably target people between 28 and 45, maybe 28 and 50. You should do your research and identify your TG, and then you can do a very carefully crafted, least targeted advertisement campaign in Facebook. That's one way to do it. So those are the ads. So when it comes to ad platforms, Facebook is super popular, and they are the people who are making so much money. Last time I checked, in the last financial year, they made $65 billion from advertisements. That means they're displaying so much advertisement in Facebook, but you have to put them in a very nice way, in a catchy way. You have to pay attention to the title, thumbnail, and call to action. And the Facebook is now giving us very advanced tools to create a very nice and engaging advertisement inside Facebook platform. You should give it a try. You should try all of those things. When you go to Facebook Ad Manager, you can try these things and spend like really less amount of money, and of course you'll reach less amount of people, but relevant people. I think that's important. So then you can try Twitter ads, you can try Instagram ad, and when you're running a video ad in Facebook, you can automatically push that to Instagram to the same demographic. And one of the most underrated and underutilized ad platform is LinkedIn. So most of the people don't really using LinkedIn advertisement, and LinkedIn is a very special kind of social media network because professionals are there, and all the professionals are connected by their profession. So it's a very tight family. So if we can target people, like you can go to LinkedIn and target an advertisement only for people who are working in a specific organization, and you can design very specifically design different advertisement for different people who are working for different organizations. So those are really interesting stuff that the marketeers can do using social media. And the other thing, that's about the ads, like try Facebook, try Twitter, try Instagram, and try LinkedIn. And at the same time, like you have to understand the personalities of these platforms as well. Like let's say Facebook is now more like traditional media. Everybody is there. But when if you go to Instagram, more teenagers and early 20s, late 20s, they are the people who you can find in Instagram. Most of the teenagers, you should take notes, most of the teenagers, they don't have Facebook accounts. They have Instagram accounts. That means after 5 years, all of those people who got an Instagram account, probably not a Facebook account. That's going to be a major deal breaker for Facebook, and maybe that's why they bought Instagram. So that's the story. And LinkedIn, Facebook, and the other thing. When you go to Google and search for something, let's say I want to search for an iPhone or something like that, then you can place your advertisement there, right there in the search result page. And that's a very powerful tool, because most of the people thinking that that's a search result. They are actually saying it's an ad, but they try to make it not look like an ad. It looks like a search result. So lots of people click on those things. Like just go to Google and search for hosting service providers. You can find lots of ads in there. You can use very specific keywords and get your targeted audience, because if you're thinking like if you reach 1 million people in Facebook and if you call that a win, it's not. So the real question that you should ask is that the relevant 1 million people? I personally believe like you're talking to 1 million people, 1 million generic people, the general people, or you have the opportunity to talk to 500 highly relevant people, you should take the option B. So that you can do in social media. And when we are talking about these ads and everything, we have one big problem. Like let's say in television, we are seeing this ad saying, okay, look, this milk powder is good. And then you go to radio, there's with very catchy taglines and very deep voices and very good production values, and they're saying this milk powder is good. Then you go to the newspaper and you open it up, there's a full page advertisement saying, oh, hey, this milk powder is good. But it's a very lifeless message. Like, how can you give it a life? So in the traditional media, what we do is we get some person who people respect a lot. So a celebrity, a cricketer, some kind of person like that with a proper reputation. So when we include that person in that TV advertisement, we include that person's voice in the radio advertisement, then it's giving a little bit of life to it. But we have a little problem there too. So the entire audience knows that, okay, this person is getting paid and that's why he's recommending it. And that to solve that problem, we don't really have a proper mechanism in traditional media. And if you use the social media in the same way, like let's say you are getting a really popular celebrity, A-grade celebrity, and create a very nice 30-second advertisement, and you are trying to boost that in YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you do the same thing in YouTube as pre-roll ads, again you are losing. So you have to find different ways to talk to relevant people, and that's where the influencers are coming in. Like if you go to any social media platform like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you can find people who are maintaining social media accounts and people kind of like them. Like, you know, all of these social media platforms are pretty identical. Like take a look at Facebook. You can go to Facebook, update a status, and you can post a photo, then you can post a video, then you can post a story. Then you go to Instagram, you can post text directly. You can post a video, image, or a story. And then you go to Twitter, you can post text, image, video. Then again, YouTube, lots of people think the YouTube is always about videos. It's not the case. Even in YouTube, you can post text, you can post images, you can post stories and videos. So all of these social media platforms are pretty identical when it comes to features, but they have different personalities. So you have to use them right. So there are some people who are writing amazing content on Facebook. So lots of people are following them on Facebook because they are writing amazing stuff. And sometimes there are very popular bloggers. They write stuff on their blog and they post the same thing on their Facebook profile. So they have a reputation that they're writing amazing stuff. And there are lots of very popular tweets. Like I'm personally following some very creative tweets. They are creating some amazing, entertaining and educational stuff with 280 characters. And there are some people who are on Instagram. They travel, they take amazing photographs, then they create amazing videos. Now that the Instagram is letting you to upload long format videos in IGTV, so they are creating amazing content there too. So and YouTube, I have account in YouTube, so that's why I'm invited here. So even in YouTube, there are lots of people who are posting images, text and videos, but YouTube is very popular for videos. So those people, by posting that kind of interesting content, they have gained some kind of reputation among certain people, and those groups are also highly fragmented. Let's say if you want to do a sponsored video with me, the first thing I do is I take a look at what kind of message you want to pass on to my audience. Then I know my audience because they're like my friends. I know them for years. I know the generic personality of my audience. So I check your message, then I check whether it's suitable for my audience. If it's not suitable for my audience, probably I'll say, no, I can't take this project. If it's suitable for my audience, then I check whether can I add any value to my audience. Then I accept the message. So you get the benefits, like the company is getting the benefit of passing their message to my audience. My audience is getting some value, some educational value through that message. So that's how this influencer marketing is working. So let's say there's a very popular Instagrammer, and let's say she's talking about beauty products like makeup products, healthy living. Then if you want to place one of your product in her Instagram account, and that's going to be a golden opportunity. And those things are somewhat expensive, but in Sri Lanka, this market is pretty fresh. So you can actually find lots of opportunities there to spend less money and talk to more relevant people. So explore these things. And when you are categorizing influencers, so we take the followers count, the like count, and that kind of quantitative measures. Those quantitative measures are fine. So that should be the first step. But then you should slowly go into the qualitative measures. There are some YouTube channels, some Facebook pages, some Instagram accounts. They have lots of followership, but their engagement is not very good. Engagement means not just thumbs up and hearts and likes. You should actually go there and read all the comments. If you read all the comments, you will get the feeling that what kind of audience we are dealing with. Like let's say we have one YouTube account, and when you go there, you see that lots of comments saying, Shah, nice video, great, nice video. Then probably that audience is not very engaging. But when I go to some YouTube channel, I can see that, okay, your song is nice, but how about we change the chord structure there to this for a cover song? Then how about we use a different percussion item instead of this? It could have been nicer. Then you can see under that, the creator is saying that, yeah, that's a nice idea. I'll do a jam on that. So like that, if you see like very human level of interaction in this kind of channels, that's probably your influencer. Influencer word is kind of wrongly used in lots of places. So if you have this number of followers, if you have this number of YouTube subscribers, you are an influencer. I disagree, because influencer means you should be able to make an influence to your audience. If you may have lots of millions of subscribers, followers, but still you can't make influence to your audience, then you are not an influencer. You are just an account with lots of likes, followers, and subscribers. So that's why you have to dig into a little bit of a qualitative analysis of the channel. And then you can identify your influencers, then you can reach them, then you can ask them to place your product in a very nice way in their content. Then you are giving the maximum life to that advertisement, and it doesn't even look like an advertisement. So you should look into that kind of strategies. And in Sri Lanka, the market is still very fresh, so the cost is very low. Even with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram ad, if you're targeting Sri Lanka, market is still fresh, not a lot of people are using it, and the cost is really low. So lots of people are thinking that social media advertisement is really expensive. So let's compare the traditional media and the social media. In traditional media, you can play 30-second advertisement on TV, then you can play 15-second radio spot and full page newspaper advertisement. Now that we are talking about millions of rupees, right? So if you spend the same amount of money, what can you do in social media? Actually, you can do way more than that, because it's cheap. It should not be cheap, and it's never going to be cheap in the future, because the market is still fresh. Not a lot of people are using it. The demand is less. So that's why it's cheap, because it's giving you more features. In a newspaper, you can't target different genders, you can target different age groups, but still it's expensive because the market is established. And in TV advertisements, you can't target genders, you can't target regions, you can't target age groups, but it's still expensive because the market is well established. So social media market is like growing really fast, it's growing exponentially. So you have to be the early adapter. So then if you adapt to this market really early, then you can get the advantage of these early markets. So some times ago, Google AdWord was like dirt cheap, but you can target to a very specific person through that advertisement. But it's not that cheap anymore because lots of people are using it. The market is growing. And the Facebook ads are, even to date, I think it's undervalued. You can go and try. Even YouTube ads are undervalued. But when it comes to influencers, in Sri Lanka, it's really undervalued. Like if you take a look at a Twitter profile with 10K, that's a really big account and you can do lots of things. But in Sri Lanka, it's not the case. This market is pretty fresh. So you have to think of some kind of quantitative and qualitative analysis to reach these people and create lots of marketing channels. And when it comes to influencer marketing, another thing that you should pay attention to. So another thing that you should pay attention to is like, let's say you want to promote and you want to pass on the message to audience about a beauty product, and I am running a science channel. So you reach me because I have a certain number of followers and subscribers. That's a really bad idea, right? I may have hundreds and thousands of followers and subscribers, but I don't really have any kind of authority in beauty products. Maybe instead of me, you can reach an Instagrammer who's always talking about beauty products and healthy lifestyle and that kind of stuff. But that account may have only 10K followers. Then you can reach more people like that. That's why I said this qualitative analysis is so important in social media when you're reaching influencers. Then the other thing. So when I talk with lots of marketing professionals, they say that when they're looking at the ratings and the research, they hardly ever notice that the social media is popping up there. So no report is saying that, okay, this product, so they're doing like field research, right? So they are not really saying, okay, I bought this product because of social media, because I saw that on Facebook, because I saw that on Instagram. Those reports are very rarely saying that kind of stuff. So that's a big question. Why? The why is just think all of those research companies, all of those companies who are creating TV ratings, radio ratings, those companies are there because the traditional media exists. Let's say the traditional media is not there anymore. If you are going to social media, you don't really need those companies, because the analytics and everything is built into all the social media platforms. So if you publish a TV advertisement, and then if you want to get a report about it, you probably have to go to a research company and get a report from them. But if you run a Facebook campaign, then you combine that with Instagram campaign, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, YouTube campaign, then you don't really have to go anywhere. All this data, all this analytics, and you have lots of tools there to see whether your advertisement is working. You can do A/B testing and see which advertisement is working properly. So you can do all of those stuff in the system, and it's completely free. All of those tools are basically free. You only have to pay for the advertisements, and in social media advertisements, you have to pay only for the actions. Like, let's say I saw your advertisement, then you should pay the platform. It's not a flat rate. So those are the major advantages. And if you are confused why the social media thing is not appearing in any rating and research reports, that's because those companies are simply there because of the traditional media, and they are probably focusing their research on the traditional media. I know lots of small businesses with the return like more than $1 million a month, small companies, but they're doing lots of sales simply through social media. Just one Facebook page, maybe one Instagram page, and you can develop that kind of strategies. And the other thing, the final tip. So when you are using social media, you are obviously, like, if you have like a really tight time frame, then you probably have to go for boosting campaigns in Facebook, Instagram. You have to learn the art of doing it. You have to do A/B testing. You have to design different graphics and see how different colors are working, because lots of people are watching this stuff on mobile phones. Mobile phones are AMOLED screens, and these laptops, they have LCD screens. The color representation is different, so you have to very carefully pick your colors, and you have to like work with your designer to get the maximum out of it. And personally, I think the best way to do it is A/B testing, because we never know what's actually working. You can see actually what's working when you're working with social media. And the other thing, as marketeers and marketing professionals, if you want to connect with people using social media, you have ads, you have influencers. At the same time, you can be the influencer, right? So this was done like centuries ago, and there was a magazine, a printed magazine. Back in the days, we never had any kind of electronic media. That printed magazine was done by John Deere, the tractor company. So that magazine is all about agriculture and how to do agriculture, what kind of different technologies we have. So that magazine is about that. That magazine is not an advertisement of John Deere. They create content and they build a huge audience. So whenever they want to promote their tractors, they can use the same platform. So as marketing professionals, you guys can give it a try. So rather than just relying on other influencers, you can be the influencer. So you can create some valuable content, and you can create your own YouTube channels, your Instagram accounts, Facebook pages, not just for advertisements, but you are creating content. Whenever you want to utilize that for advertisement, you can use it. So those are the things. So if I summarize everything, social media, you have lots of data. Use that data to reach your TG. Like, don't throw darts everywhere, like in TV, radio, and newspapers. When you throw darts everywhere, some of those will work. But if you want more of those to work, you have to throw lots of darts. But use social media, just send one to the bullseye because you have the data. So use it. Then use advertisements. Use advertisement for targeted groups, like the way I told you, like universities, they target parents as well as kids. Then work with influencers. When you are working with influencers, don't stick to the quantitative analysis. There are numbers like followers, subscribers. Dig into a qualitative analysis as well. So you probably have to come up with your own matrices, like how to do it. Then when you're working with influencers, don't influence the influencer. That's also very important, because like, let's say I am creating a video for you, for your brand, the brand you are working with, and if you force me to do something that I'm not usually doing, then my audience will immediately figure out that, okay, oh, this person he's getting paid, that's why he's acting like that. So you should let the influencer to be himself and embed your message in a very subtle way. And the third thing, you can be the influencer. As marketing professionals, you can create your own platform with your own TG to talk to those people and create some value, create some valuable content. Then whenever you want, you can utilize those platforms, and you can place your advertisements. So I gave you 3 different tips how to use social media in this pandemic situation, because the budget cuts, you have to think of new ways. Think of social media ads. Don't spend so much money. Target people and talk to influencers. Talk to influencers with maybe lesser number of subscribers, maybe lesser number of followers, but a higher number of engagement. And sometimes you can do those stuff because the market is very fresh. You can do those stuff for a very cheaper price. Give it a try and try to create your own content. When you create your own content, let's say you are working for a food company, you are like working with a food company, food related company, start a YouTube channel, start an Instagram account to talk about food, not about that company. You're talking about food. So whenever you want, you can place that company in your content. So then you don't really have to rely on other influencers. So that's the stuff, people. So I think this is the time where we ask questions. And Damsit.
Hi, Mr. Alahakoon. So the first question for you today is from Janaka. Do you think through TV/radio or newspapers? Excuse me, sorry. I'll repeat again. Do you think through TV/radio or newspapers cannot reach our target segments?
We actually can. We are reaching our target segment plus the not related segments as well, because like, let's say you place some kind of advertisement in TV, then everybody's going to see it regardless they're interested in the product or not. So you are spending money to show your advertisement to a lot more people who don't really care about your product or service. So what's the point? So that's why I said in social media you can spend limited amount of budget, and rather than throwing lots of darts, then few of them will hit in the target segment, but hit one dart to the bullseye. To do that, you need data, and the data is there in social media.
Yes, Mr. Alahakoon. Next question is from Pramudit. He has asked, his basic stated saying that I'm a landscape photographer. What are the basic methods for each more Instagram post without advertisement?
So, all right. Pramudit is asking this question, the landscape photographer basic methods. Right. So, Pramudit, what you can do is you can use hashtags. Hashtags are super powerful in Instagram, and in Instagram, use relevant hashtags. Then in Instagram, you can't share content because Instagram is not a very democratic platform. So not like Facebook. Like, let's say in Facebook, lots of people are sharing your content. That means lots of people are going to see your content. It's not the case in Instagram. In Instagram, you are seeing what Instagram wants you to see. So you have to indicate Instagram that this content is suitable for certain group of people. So use hashtags very carefully. And the other thing, respond with people, like commenting, engaging. That's also a very good thing. And when you're posting stuff on Instagram, be regular. Like, let's say you're posting one photo every Tuesday 6 p.m. stick to that schedule. Then Instagram think that you are a regular uploader, so then you'll get a little bit of push.
Yeah, Mr. Alahakoon. He has also asked which mobile app is good for analyze Instagram account.
Huh. The best thing that you can use is your own Instagram profile, Instagram app. When you upgrade to a business account, when you upgrade it to Instagram business account or Instagram create account, I'm using an Instagram create account, you are getting like serious number of analytics, and you can get the age group, engagement, and a lot more things. So rather than using a third party application, I think the best thing that you can use is look at the analytics in the Instagram account itself. But to do that, you have to upgrade your account to a business account or a creator account.
Yeah, Mr. Alahakoon. There's another question from another participant. Uh, he or she has asked, can you be specific about what can be done during this pandemic for B2B business?
Right. Yeah, when it comes to B2B business, it's a kind of tricky situation because the decision making is not done by just a single person. So if you want to talk to another business, and from like it's not like reaching a not a generic customer, not like a specific TG. So in that case, I cannot give you a straight answer, but what I would do is I'll probably use LinkedIn. I'll use LinkedIn. I create content on LinkedIn. I push advertisement in LinkedIn to targeting those people who can make decisions. So one classic example would be one of my friend. He was running a campaign for Herman Miller, the chairs. So those chairs are not for day-to-day people, right? So if you want to get the Herman Miller chair, it's going to cost you like hundreds of thousands. So maybe 200, 250,000, that range. So those shares are probably bought by big companies. So he targeted in LinkedIn, he targeted all of those people and did a campaign, and it worked. So you can use LinkedIn, but it's not easy as using reaching the generic audience when it comes to B2B, but the best platform I recommend is LinkedIn.
Yeah, Mr. Alahakoon. There's another question from Oshan. How to promote in YouTube channel?
How to promote a YouTube channel? Right. This is promotion, right? So promoting a YouTube channel, there's no such a formula or anything. So we are getting lots of numbers, like the average length of a video attention span is 4 minutes and 11 seconds, and you should do this and that and everything. But it's an art because we don't have such a formula. So the things that you should have, the bottom line is your content should add value to your audience. So basically, like let's say you are singing, you should be able to add value to your audience. You are creating education content like the way I do, you should be able to add value to your audience, and you should be engaging with the audience. And in YouTube, lots of traffic is coming from suggestions, YouTube suggestions. Like let's say I talk about SpaceX crew mission 27th May, then lots of other YouTubers are talking about the same thing. If YouTube felt like my content is relevant to this content, they'll put my content next to the other video as a suggestion. So to get those suggestions, to give more information to that suggestion algorithm, you can include hashtags. In YouTube, we have tags, not hashtags. But in the description, you can include hashtags and write a nice description describing, including all of those keywords. Then you will get lots of traffic from suggestions. And the beauty of suggestion is you are getting fresh traffic. Like that means those are people who have never seen your YouTube channel. They'll watch your video. If they like it, they'll probably subscribe and watch more videos. So leverage suggestions by by talking about current trends, current topics, and use hashtags and tags and nice descriptions. That's what you can do.
Yeah, Mr. Salakan, there's another question from Dr. Janaka Mudalige. He has asked, how about LinkedIn advertisements to professionals in terms of influencers?
Right. So, Doctor, LinkedIn advertisement in terms of influencers, it's actually two different things because you can go to LinkedIn and create amazing content, then you are an LinkedIn influencer. And if you want to boost it further, you can use LinkedIn advertisement. But as I said before multiple times, LinkedIn is an amazing platform to talk to professionals. And if you want to target software engineers, you can do that in LinkedIn. Software engineers in Sri Lanka, Colombo, you can do that. And at the same time, if you want to become a LinkedIn influencer, I know few friends. I have few friends. I follow them in LinkedIn because they write about amazing stuff. One of my friend is writing about iPhone app development, so I follow him on LinkedIn because he's creating that content. So he's a kind of sort of LinkedIn influencer. It's the word is very fresh though, because we know Instagram influencers, YouTube influencers, Facebook influencers, but LinkedIn influencer, the word is very fresh. But there are emerging influencers, professional influencers in uh, LinkedIn, and you can, that's one avenue. You create your own content, people are organically gathering around that content. But if you want to push it further, you can use LinkedIn ads too.
Yeah, Mr. Alahakoon. There's a question from Markinton. He has asked how we can build the trust about our product through social media, because nowadays a lot of fake products also pop up through Facebook.
Right. There is no straight answer to that, because when you go to so what you can do is you should jump into the shoes of a customer. You go to Amazon, you go to AliExpress and eBay, and you buy products, right? When you buy products in AliExpress and eBay, especially because they don't really tightly control the quality of the product, you are picking that product based on certain factors, right? You look at the professionalism of the product description, you look at the star rating. So that kind of different signals that you are getting that this is a legitimate product. So you should get the same amount of signals like the better star rating. You should organize your description very nicely, very neatly, proper English and everything. Then you can convince your customers that your product is a legitimate product, not a fake product.
Mr. Alahakoon, there's a question from Nalani. She has asked, compared to other social media platforms, LinkedIn is costly to promote ads, I guess. What's your suggestion?
That is actually correct. Not only compared to social media, other social media platform, LinkedIn is expensive. LinkedIn is expensive because it's quality. Like let's say you go to Facebook. Facebook is the place where you can publish advertisement and it's dirt cheap because Facebook does not have that kind of qualitative information about people. Like you can actually split between genders, age group, region, and stuff. But in LinkedIn, they have a far more valuable data about their position, about their company, their education level. So if you want to target people who are working in software industry and who got a master's degree, in LinkedIn you can do that. So they have that strength, and that's why it's expensive. So in future, when it comes to advertisement, the most expensive factor is not the head count, it's the focus, the target.
Mr. Alahakoon, Siba has asked, which social media best suit for a lecture to reach the target audience?
Uh, I think it's so if you are doing lectures, the best platform is if you are doing it for free, the best platform is YouTube. If you want to create your own online course and then make some money, I think the best platform is Udemy. Try Udemy. You can create a course, video course, and sell it.
Yeah, Mr. Alahakoon. There's a question from Sachin. What is the best way for promote Fiverr gigs and orders? Is that Facebook or YouTube or any other thing?
Sachin, you are talking about a completely different topic now. So if you want to get more boost, get more jobs for a Fiverr gig, there are certain techniques that you can use, and I don't think it's Facebook or YouTube. First, your gig should be attractive. So your gig should look very professional. Then you can use other features in Fiverr platforms like buyer requests, star rating, and delivery time. Improve all of those things, and slowly you can get your gigs to a higher ranking. Uh, I don't think like if you promote that in YouTube or Facebook, you'll get a huge boost. You should use the same platform because most of these platforms, they are creators, they are trying not to let the people go out of the platform. So that's why Facebook started their own video watch pages and everything, instant articles, because when you go to Facebook, Facebook don't want you to go out of Facebook. So if you want to get your gig high up in Fiverr, whatever you are doing, you better do that in Fiverr. Then you can slowly use other techniques, but pay attention to all the features built into Fiverr.
Mr. Alahakoon, there are two questions from Janaka. He's asked, what are the data analytics apps available social media? And in fact, he's asked, how can you link social media with SEO and SEM?
Right. The data analytics app for social media, there are several apps, but personally, I don't really use any of those things. I use Social Blade sometimes. Social Blade is giving you some insight into the channel or the account and its history. Start with Social Blade. Then because most of the data is not publicly available, whatever publicly available you can get through Social Blade. There are some other tools I use very specifically, but they are also not free, and some of those things are corporate level products. But if you are a normal person, if you want to look into some channels and its growth, the best thing is Social Blade, I guess. And the other question is about search engine optimization. Could you please repeat that? Oh yeah, I got it. Janaka's question. How can you link social media with search engine optimization? Then Janaka, search engine optimization, social signals, it's a significant factor because sometimes when it comes to search engine optimization, we were talking about meta tags, descriptions, titles, keywords, keyword density, and that kind of mechanical factors. It's not the case anymore. So now that's the search engine optimization. Their algorithms are far more intelligent. They can think like us. They can feel like us. That's the most important thing. These are Google algorithms, Google neural networks can read an article and figure out whether this article is interesting or not. So you should probably leverage this social sharing. Like you should have social sharing buttons. If lots of people are sharing your content, that's a very human indicator that your content is interesting and engaging. So yes, so the best thing that you can do is link all of those social media profile to your web page and make all those social media sharing buttons very visible. So yep. Any more questions?
Yeah, Mr. Alahakoon, there is a couple of more questions from the participants. One participant has asked how to increase your follower base on Instagram for a personal profile.
Right, I think I answered that question before. So the same things apply for personal profiles. So you should be regular with your uploads. You should use relevant hashtags. You should be engaging with your audience and post something interesting, engaging. So then you can follow you. And then like let's say you are doing you are into cooking and healthy lifestyle or something like that. So your objective should not be getting huge number of people. Your objective should be to get the relevant people into your account. Then the channel, your account value goes up. Like if you have lots of people, millions and millions of people, when you post something, but you don't have enough engagement, then that account doesn't have any value. So get relevant people to your account. So the best way is regular uploads, engagement in the comment section, and hashtags.
Yeah, Mr. Alahakoon, there's a question from another participant. He stated TikTok also play a major role. How would it make a meaningful way for business?
Right, because I'm a huge fan of TikTok platform. Lots of people make fun of TikTok and they say that they should ban TikTok. I strongly disagree because it's an emerging platform. I remember the very early time of Facebook. Lots of people hated it. they all said that it's a toy for teenagers. So now the same thing is happening for TikTok because it's growing really fast. So one major advantage in TikTok is, in TikTok they are using artificial intelligence suggestions. So in Facebook, YouTube, and all the other places, Instagram Explorer, you can see all these suggestions based on artificial intelligence, based on your profile. But TikTok is taking another step forward. They don't suggest you content, they play content on your face because they're that confident about their artificial intelligence algorithm. Because in TikTok, you swipe up the next video, you don't know what that video is going to be. The TikTok decide that video. So in that kind of platform, the advertisements can be placed very creatively because the users are already programmed in their brain to see what platform is pushing them to see. So I don't know what TikTok is yet, but probably in next few years, if TikTok survive all of those things, that's going to be a very interesting platform to target different people, because TikTok is also collecting information of their users like any other social media platform. So that's going to be a huge deal.
Ms. Alahakoon, a participant has stated these days a lot of e-commerce platforms are emerging. What's your opinion on future e-commerce platforms in Sri Lanka? Will social media play a vital role?
Right. Yes, social media platforms are emerging because these days we can't go out, so we have to get everything home delivered. And because of that, so e-commerce was moving really slow in Sri Lanka because people are reluctant to pay for something without seeing it, pay for something without receiving it. So in e-commerce, we don't see it, we don't receive it, we make the payment in advance. In Sri Lanka, we're not really comfortable with that idea. But during this pandemic crisis, COVID-19, we figured out that it's not bad actually, we can do that. So lots of people are into e-commerce now. Even after this pandemic situation, there will be lots of people who will buy their groceries online. So the market is going to be expanded, market is going to be huge. And the other part of the question is, how can social media play a role in this e-commerce revolution in Sri Lanka? So now that people are confident about their credit cards, people are confident about buying something without receiving it first. So the social media, the social listening is going to be a very important thing. Like let's say one food company, and there's a huge movement in social media against them saying that their food is bad, they have to respond. So lots of people think that, lots of companies think that we are too big to fail. And some people are saying our company is bad in social media is not a huge impact. It's not the case. We have seen back in 2015, the Sri Lanka's president, right? The biggest position we have in the country changed, and the social media was a significant factor. So you have to pay attention to that. If you are running a social media e-commerce website, e-commerce business, your social media accounts should be very strong. And in parallel to that, my third point in my presentation, be the influencer. If you are running an e-commerce website, create content about e-commerce, and you should have your own YouTube channels, Instagram channels, not just to promote your website, but to create content. I don't really see any companies in Sri Lanka doing such a thing, because they have to create content, add value, and later on they can utilize it.
Yeah, Ms. Alahakoon, we have one last question for today's webinar, and it's by Pramudit. He has asked, what is the best social media for a photographer?
For photographer, so I'm also into photography. So I remember back in the days I used to use Flickr, but I don't really see lots of people are using Flickr anymore. In Facebook, the biggest problem is when you upload something to Facebook, the quality goes like crazy. So I think Instagram is a good platform for a photographer. But yes, again, you have to find like what kind of photography you are doing. And I have seen some amazing photographers creating content in Instagram. So if you are a photographer, if you want to build up your reputation, yes, you can use Instagram, and that's a very nice place because people are going to Instagram just to watch photos. The Facebook is kind of fussy because text, text, then image, text, image. But in Instagram, it's all images. So I think Instagram, try Instagram. But if you want to sell your photographs, there are other platforms. Like if you want to sell your photographs, you can use stock image libraries. You can submit that, then people will buy it. But you can promote those things using a social media like Instagram.
Yes, Mr. Alahakoon, that wraps up our Q&A session. Thank you very much, Mr. Malinda Alahakoon, for partnering up along with the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing conducting this webinar. We are very pleased and honored to have you as a speaker for the webinar titled as The Role of Social Media in a Pandemic Crisis. In fact, you all would have heard Restart Sri Lanka is an initiative by the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing to see Sri Lanka emerge stronger and back on track as soon as possible. This is a platform created to regroup, rebuild, and restructure our lives and businesses in new and unforeseen ways. We could kickstart our economy and get it up and running slowly but surely together. For more information, we would like all the participants to visit the website www.restartsl.today. On the other hand, Slim would like to thank all our participants for taking part and having a great engagement in today's webinar. We hope this gave a lot of insights on the role of social media in a pandemic crisis. Just to make a note, Slim will be emailing you all a survey. We would like to request all of you to fill it and submit it as your feedback is highly valued to serve you better. That wraps up today's webinar. Thank you everyone and have a pleasant evening.